Hello, seventh graders. Happy Monday. I hope that you had a wonderful MEA break. We are just going to jump right on in and get things rolling here with social studies for today. The faster we can get through this, the more time that we will have for you to work on an assignment. So here's the deal. Mrs. Hackle should have handed out to you your Unit 4 learning map and vocabulary sheet. Okay. If she hasn't done this yet, I'm just going to simply have her pause the video, go ahead and hand this out. And then once you have your piece of paper, I do want you to flip to your table of contents. All right. Here is our update. If we look, it's here bolded 1022. We have our Unit 4 learning map and vocab pages 27 through 28. So here's the deal with our table of contents. Usually we put our tests in, and I've kind of made the big decision that I still want to be as active and as a part of the classroom as possible while I'm up here in Fargo, just waiting and trying to take care and grow this baby a little bit longer. So you will get your tests back. They will just never be in a timely fashion like they were while I was there. My husband and then a handful of teacher friends will be running things to and from the classroom. And so once I am back, hopefully in January at some point, we will be able to update things as needed. Okay. So again, once you have your learning map and vocab, you should flip to your table of contents, go ahead and update what we see there. And we'll just go through and update it every day as the papers are coming out to you. Okay, there's no sense in rushing and doing it all at once like we were doing before. We'll just change it up. So again, if you need more time, I'll have Mrs. Hackle just pause the video for you. Otherwise, once you have this in place, let's go ahead and flip back to our learning map. Shrink it down just a little bit. So if you look here, we have 4 learning targets. Okay, I want you to please complete the pretest as we are going through this. So you're marking either yes, no, or if you're kind of that maybe, you can mark both. Totally open to whatever you do. So 1.5, I can explain how the Constitution and the Bill of Rights limits the government and protects individual rights, all while promoting the general welfare. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, mark no. Learning target 1.6, I can describe the importance of key constitutional amendments. Learning target 1.7, I can explain the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. And 5.1 is vocabulary. So if you go ahead and flip to the back side, I believe we have 9 new words. Okay, we're going to do things a little backwards. I'm going to show you pictures. I just want to go through each word, each definition. While I'm doing this, I'll kind of give you those ideas for context clues or trigger words. So if you have a highlighter, take out your highlighter, highlight them. Otherwise, okay, we're just going to go ahead. I'll let you underline as well or write the words off to the side. So starting with popular sovereignty. 7th graders, this is the idea that political authority belongs to the people. So every time I think popular sovereignty, I think power to the people, right? You have political authority. You get to vote. You get to make informed decisions. The government gives you that power. And you're not just voting on who's in office, you guys. Sometimes you get to vote on, big things. Like you have the school board referendum. There are different laws that we voted on here in Minnesota since I was 18 years old. And all of that is a direct impact of your authority and the power that you hold. So when we look at popular sovereignty, I like to think authority, people. Okay. Otherwise, I would even say power to the people. This would be kind of my phrase here. Ratification. This is just simply approval. Okay. If you ratify something, you approve it. Federalists will support. Okay, they support the ratification of the Constitution. So if we're talking about ratifying, that means they support the approval of the Constitution. Okay. Federalists support, anti-federalists oppose. They are against the approval of the Constitution. So again, anti, if you're anti, you're against it. Federalists will support. Amendments, we have quite a few of these to our Constitution. An amendment is an official change, correction, or addition to a law or constitution. So I like words that start with the same letter. You know this. So for me, an amendment is an addition, right? It's something we've added after. And that's exactly what our amendments are. Um, as we're going to talk about here tomorrow, the first the first government created for the United States was created under the Articles of Confederation. You guys, it was a total bust. Like, it absolutely failed 110%. Okay, so then we have our men that start drafting that Constitution. They create this beautiful government, and then they sit there and they go, "Oh, shoot, we forgot to give rights to the people," right? They just gave all the rights, all of the rules, all the ability to the government, and they realized that wasn't going to work. So this is where we see our Bill of Rights come in, and then all of the amendments that have been added since. So an amendment, again, is an addition. Due process is simply fair application. Okay? It's the fair application of the law. To indict is to accuse. So when you charge someone. Double jeopardy, so where we use our 7th grade common sense, the act of trying a person twice for the same crime. So we have double, right? And we have twice. And then we have eminent domain, the government's power to take personal property to benefit the public. Eminent domain is related to personal property, and I'll talk about this just a little bit more here in a moment. So again, you should have something underlined for all your words. Popular sovereignty, authority, people, power to the people, ratification is approval. Federalists support the Constitution. Anti-Federalists oppose the Constitution. Amendments are an addition. Due process is fair application. To indict is to accuse. Double jeopardy twice. Eminent domain, personal property. All right, moving on, because again, we're hauling today. We are going to go ahead and start with eminent domain. So, as always, you are drawing a picture. Okay? Again, eminent domain is the government's power or their ability to buy out personal property to then benefit the public. Does this happen often? More often than you think. Where is it most common around here? Fargo-Moorhead. There are some of you who maybe grew up in the Fargo-Moorhead area. I did. I vaguely remember the flood of 97. We had quite a few floods in, would have been 07 and 09. And there was a period of time where, like when I was in high school, you guys, and the floods were bad. It was basically like, well, you can show up for the week, or, school had to happen. They couldn't cancel it, but they actually encouraged us to go help the community. So rarely, if ever, was I in school the week that the floods were really bad. My grandparents, the Red River actually flows right through their backyard. And so we would spend every year sandbagging, getting it ready. We had generators, water pumps running all the time, trying to keep the water from flooding the basement. And right now, my grandma is facing some issues within eminent domain. As you know, a lot of people did lose their houses to buyouts. The government came in and offered them a sum of money. And they're currently doing this right now with my grandma, trying to configure something. Because again, the Red River flows kind of through her backyard a little ways. And so they're not looking at buying out her house. They would buy out a chunk of her backyard and then possibly cut through where her garage is. So they have to offer her the value of the land. You can't undercut somebody on the value. So like if the value of your house is say like $100,000, they have to offer you at least that, if not more. They can't try to get it for, 5,000. So again, you should have a picture. A house will simply do. Up next, we have popular sovereignty. Again, here is that concept of power to the people, right? We see it in the Constitution, we the people. We also see it with the ability to vote. So if you're wondering what to draw, you could simply draw a voting ballot, right? That yes or no. Double jeopardy, trying somebody twice for the same crime. You can't do that. So you could draw double jeopardy, the big old X, through it. To ratify is to approve, just like you see here. It's one of those big fancy stamps, right? Again, you are drawing pictures. Indict is to formally accuse. So this is where you get that idea again of potentially going to jail. You have your jumpsuits, your handcuffs, things to that nature. Federalists, they approve or they support, there we go. Oof, brain fart. They support the ratification of the Constitution. So again, they support the approval of the Constitution. If you're wondering what to draw, you could simply draw a fake Constitution, right, with that approval there on the bottom. Due process, okay, that fair application of the law. So these would be all the different steps that you would go through. Think of it kind of like the balancing system, right? You have to do it correctly. You could draw your gavel. Anti-federalists, people who oppose the Constitution or the ratification of it. So again, you could draw that Constitution kind of with that big red X or slash in mind. Okay, these guys they were not for the Constitution. They didn't like it for various reasons that at times is kind of hard to understand because the Articles of Confederation were a pretty big bust. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. An amendment, again, an official change or an addition to the Constitution. So again, we see things like our freedom of speech, the Bill of Rights, again, simply draw a document, Bill of Rights. I'm not asking for anything fancy with the pictures. I just want you to be doing this. All right. So here we go. I know that was pretty fast, but I trust that you can get through vocabulary. It's not as fun when we're not guessing what word it is and yelling out things. But that's okay. I will be back. We'll get to do it again sometime. So here's kind of my list moving forward for you. First and foremost, respect. I'm stuck in Fargo until further notice. Straight up, you guys, I'm not coming back without a baby. I'm on a fairly rigid system of bed rest. I'm lucky if I get to leave my room for 15 minutes in a wheelchair every day. Things are still going well. The baby is growing. Every ultrasound I've had, it looks super healthy. The biggest issue with why I'm here is that basically, more or less, I have kind of like a disease within my placenta. Okay, the placenta is where the baby gets all the food from, and so because the placenta is toxic, it's toxic to my body first and foremost, and then it can be toxic to the baby. So as a result, right now, my baby is very premature. Even if I carry it up until term, it's going to be born fairly small, like maybe 4 or 5 pounds if I'm lucky. So again, that's why I'm here, because anything can happen at any time. Now, with the placenta and with the toxemia, I can get fairly sick. So right now I'm battling different levels of blood pressure just to keep you in the loop. Some days they're totally fine, other days they're not. If they don't keep an eye on things, that's when we could start seeing things like seizures or strokes. But I'm in the best place. Everything is being well maintained. They have me on some medication that's helping, and things like that. So while I am up here, okay, I have enough things to worry about, right? We've talked about this before with some of my classes. The best thing, the biggest thing you could do to help me is to just be respectful towards Mrs. Hackle or whomever your sub is that day if she's not around. Okay. First and foremost, just help me help you. Okay. Be respectful, get your stuff done. If you can do that, I will have no issues with this. It is so hard being away from you guys. Gosh, I miss you so much. Our daily schedule. We're going to try to keep things as normal as possible. Okay, I will have a bell ringer for you. Mrs. Hackle will throw that up every day. I've gone over Wuzzles, I think, with her. So Wuzzles should be starting again, hopefully this week. Okay. And then you can keep track of your points, which is perfect because I will hopefully be back right around, I don't know for sure, when the first Wuzzle competition is over, because we'll do this for quarter 1 and quarter 2. It'll be ongoing. So that's my plan. After the bell ringer, your daily schedule will kind of vary. I kind of dig doing these lectures. I'm not very good at recording myself. I'm figuring this out. But if you're willing to put up with the pain of having to listen to me, I thought that this might be better just for you and I to stay connected rather than me walking away completely for a while. So you'll have a bell ringer every day. We'll kind of go through our um, our lesson plan. And sometimes it is me talking for most of the hour, and other times it's pretty relaxed. You'll see later this week we have some cool stuff planned for you. And then, class will wrap up, and hopefully there's always a little time for CNN 10. Okay. Assignments. Here's the deal. If you are not turning in your assignments on time, you have to wait for updated grades. Like I had mentioned earlier, I have Alex and a couple other teacher friends running things up to me in Fargo. I'm still trying to correct everything as best I can. I got the Unit 3 Part 1 tests done here over the weekend, and I did throw in some grades for those of you who had turned in your last textbook assignments a little early. I kind of had a feeling I was going to be put into the hospital, so fun fact, when I got the call that said I was going to Fargo the next day, I drove to my classroom at about 11 o'clock at night and grabbed a few things. So I do have a handful of stuff, and then I should be getting more here in the next day or two to put into the grade book. So just keep being patient. If you're not turning stuff in on time, you are waiting on your end. So that said, with grades, check out the grade book, see what's going on. Again, you're probably going to see a couple items missing because I don't have those pages just yet. I'm going to ask that you give me until about Friday to get caught up. I still need to go through all the different Google Slides projects, of which, you guys, I'm noticing pretty quick, a lot of you haven't turned them in. So you need to get those done as soon as you can. If you email me about your grade before then, nope, I don't need anything. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. If you email me before then, I will probably ignore you. I've had some of you ask about flashcards and this and that. And here's the deal. Your grades prior to when I was gone, those should have been taken care of before I was gone. And so if you're trying to get things figured out and you're trying to rush because you realize the quarter is coming to an end, I'm going to do the best I can. But if you're not turning stuff in on time, you're only hurting yourself even more. Okay. So here's the deal. For the rest of today, I'm going to try to wrap this up, make it short and sweet. You will have a test next Tuesday. Okay. Again, you will have a test next Tuesday. On it will be vocabulary. I will go over the test with you probably tomorrow. We'll start looking at it. If you need to make flashcards, make flashcards. However, for the rest of the hour, what you are doing is going into Google Classroom. Okay. So I will just pull up, we have 6th hour. We're going to go into classwork. You are working on the Our New Government reading and questions. Okay. So here it is, 7 questions. You will do this on a scratch sheet of paper. Please, please, please listen. Do not try to put this into Notability or whatever and write the answers and email it to me. That won't work. Okay, I need hard copies of paper because right now I'm trying to chase grades down for 120 plus kids for Google Slides, and it's a headache. It really is, especially because a lot of you didn't put them into the Dropbox like you were asked to do. So scratch sheet of paper out, 7 questions. You are doing this on your own for the rest of the hour. It is due on Wednesday. Okay. Again, due on Wednesday. I'm hoping to have Alex grab paperwork for me probably around Thursday-ish. Okay. So if it's not done on time when I go to update grade books, you're kind of out of luck. And again, we're nearing the end of that quarter, so you need to have everything complete. Okay. You may listen to your own music so long as it's not a distraction, but this is what you are working on. Okay. If you have questions, concerns, things like that, feel free to email me. Otherwise, like I said earlier, I'm doing great. I really miss you guys, and I really miss being at home. and seeing all my teacher friends at school. But all is well here, and I will be checking in again with you tomorrow. So go ahead, get that work rolling, and you will hear my voice again in 24 hours. All right. Bye, guys.